Welcome to the RavensSpace on YouTube. My name is Jason, and this is RavensSpace Daily, where we talk about Baltimore Ravens news every single weekday. Thank you guys so much for joining me today. We have 3 great news stories. If you're not subscribed, please subscribe to our channel for great Baltimore Ravens content. Also, please check out our social media and our Patreon page. We'll hop right into the news with the first news story of the day being about Jeremy Maclin. Jeremy Maclin had an interview with Adam Schefter, and in this interview, a lot of things came out, some things that we knew already that provided more details, and some things that we didn't know, which were very interesting. So one of the things that we already knew was that the Chiefs released him by voicemail, but they added in some dialogue. The general manager for the Chiefs called him while he was on the plane. You know, of course, he was on the plane, so he got the voicemail. And the general manager said that they were trying to trade him for 3 months now and that they were going to release him. They released him on a Friday afternoon, super late. So basically he wouldn't become a free agent until Monday because the paperwork had to go through and stuff like that. And so when Jeremy was talking, he said that he felt slighted because, you know, if you called that late on a Friday, you could have called on a Saturday and talked to him face to face. You could have, you know, did something, right? You could have kept on calling something, but he felt they didn't have the respect for him. He was surprised by it. And that they just went and did what they did. We all know it's a business, and sometimes players get treated not so fairly, and this is an example of that happening. Some more things that came out was a couple of reasons that he signed with the Ravens. One of the reasons was John Harbaugh. Again, as you know, John Harbaugh used to coach in Philadelphia. Maclin used to play in Philadelphia, and though I don't believe they ever were coaching there together, there was such a good word of mouth. You had the Baltimore organization was another reason. A lot of good respect, a lot of, you know, good things like that. We have great players that come out of Baltimore and who talk good about the Ravens, and we don't have bad blood with teams. Even players that get, you know, don't come back like a Holy Nada, they still love Baltimore. So he appreciated that. And lastly, his wife is from Baltimore. And you know the saying, happy wife, happy life? It applied in this situation. So, you know, I thought it was interesting. You guys can go to ESPN and listen to it. Super interesting to hear from Jeremy Maclin. Also, one more thing. He played last season with an injured groin. And when people say he lost a step, you know, they have to remember that he played with an injured groin, which is painful and it's going to bring you down. So it was an interesting interview. Go check it out. And we'll move to the next story of the day. And the next story of the day is something I'm super excited about because I've been preaching this for a little while now. I've been saying this for a little while now. The Bleacher Report had an article about NFL players who deserve a shot to start. And on their list for the Baltimore Ravens was Nick Boyle. And I was super happy because I've been saying this for a while. Give him a chance, okay? If the Ravens want to be old school gritty football, there's one old school gritty tight end they have, and his name is Nick Boyle. I think he can catch and run routes perfectly fine, perfectly well enough to be a starter. His speed is a little, I don't know if it's there, but we know how athletic he is by the way that he loves jumping over defenders. So give him a shot. I'll read you what it says here in the article. The 24-year-old Delaware product entered the league with the size and athleticism to be an every down tight end, and he's yet to do anything to indicate that can't happen. Boyle has caught 82.8% of 29 passes thrown his way during his first 2 seasons of his career, and at least a few have come in traffic on intermediate to deep throws. I think Boyle has the skills to pay the bills. I really do hope that the Ravens really do give him a fair shake. I kind of feel in the past that they didn't give Nick Boyle a fair shake. They kind of tried to give Max Williams up there. They wanted Crockett Gilmore to develop. I think that Nick Boyle is better than those two. I can't say better than Crockett yet, but I think he has the potential to be better than Crockett. But he's definitely, in my opinion, better than Max Williams. So I can't wait for this season. I hope he gets a chance to start. I want to see him play. I want to see him be physical. And I want to see him get a couple of touchdowns for the Baltimore Ravens. Let me know what you think about Nick Boyle in the comments below. One of my favorite young players on the roster right now. And then the last story is a sad story, but, you know, good news for Matt Elam, but sad just for the Ravens fandom. But I do have to bring it up. Matt Elam's grand theft domestic battery charges have been dropped. Now, he still has charges for drug possession. and I believe under the influence, but domestic battery charges have been dropped. Grand theft charges have been dropped, which is great for him, right? Possession versus grand theft, you want possession, right? And that's just, we know that. Sad story. Again, a lot of outlets have said he's the biggest failure for the Baltimore Ravens in the last 10 years. He's the worst choice. He didn't live up to his potential. The worst first-round draft pick in Baltimore Ravens history. A lot of stuff about him has come out in the negative. Not only did he not live up to his potential, but he was an off-the-field nuisance as well. And again, you never want to see a player, especially football players or even athletes, get in trouble because they're still so young. And, when regular people do stupid stuff when they're young, 10 people know about it, right? But now Matt Elam is doing stupid stuff when he's young and millions of people know about it. And part of it's like people like me, it's my fault for, bringing it up. But you guys need to know, you're Baltimore Ravens fans, I'm a Baltimore Ravens fan. We need to know about Baltimore Ravens. Super sad story. I'm not going to dwell on this story long. Hopefully he gets his life together. Hopefully everything works out for him. Again, super sad to see this happening to a Baltimore Raven, but it is. And thank you guys for watching to the end. And we have the mailbag question of the day like we do every single time on the RavensSpace Daily. And this question comes from Luke. And Luke asks, do you think the Ravens are in more need of a center or a right tackle? Thank you so much for your question, Luke. And I'm going to answer this just like you said it. What do the Ravens need more, right? Not what people need more in general. I think the Ravens need a tackle right now more than a center. And I'll tell you a couple of reasons why. First reason is James Hurst. I have no trust in this guy, and I don't know what it is, but I do know that our offensive line was the worst when he was at right tackle. I do know that. And man, I just don't have any confidence. And tackle, in my opinion, either tackle is a harder position than center and guard. And it's just because the freak athletes are at the outside. And if you go against a team that has like two great outside pass rushers, so you really can't help, you have to have the chip or something like that, it would be a disaster. And I do remember one game in particular against the Texans. And to be fair, a lot of the time Hurst was somehow getting matched up on J.J. Watt one-on-one. And when he did, he was being beat like a drum, in my opinion. And so it is J.J. Watt, to me, one of the best defenders ever in the history of the NFL. But we can't have that if we want to win football games. And with center, you can do a lot of different things, especially with Marshall Yonda at guard. And most of the teams in our division and even in the AFC play 3-man front. So you can do a lot of things there to help out on a dominant defender. And again, those players in the middle are slower at D tackle. So it's easier to chip. It's easier for a running back to take his legs out. In the running game, it's easier to get that backside blocker, right? It's easier for Yonda to come over and take his legs out than it is for, James Hurst to lead block against a great outside linebacker. So I think the Ravens need a right tackle much, much more. Not that I say I'm super confident in the people they have at center like Urshel, but I know I am not confident at all in a right tackle position. So much so that I would trade for one, even though we don't have a lot of trade bait. But I would definitely try to get one from free agency just to add competition. Now, the Ravens do say that they're confident that they have the player on the roster to take that position, but they also say in the same breath that they also need to develop, right? They say James Hurst is good, he can play that position, but he also needs to develop. So I think the Ravens need a right tackle. To answer your question, Luke, I think the Ravens need a right tackle much more than they need a center. I think as long as the snap is clean and the center is sturdy, they don't have to be quick-footed. They have to be smart. But in today's league where coordinators and coaches and quarterbacks make a lot of the blocking schemes, I'm not really worried about the center position as much as that right tackle position. So Thank you guys so much for watching. Please subscribe, like, share. Check us out on social media. Check us out on our Patreon page. I appreciate it, guys. And go Ravens.